Hi everybody, this is Osprey from MyChartCoach.com, and in this video we're going to take a look at the energy sector penny stocks. Okay, oil's been moving, it had a pullback and then it's been bouncing, and so now we have the energy sector penny stocks heating back up. So I'm going to try to go over these quickly this time. I know I always take a long time in these videos. I'll try to go quickly. This is ticker symbol CHK. Okay, this was a really sweet move today, and it does trade options, and the call options were up huge today. So congrats to everybody that was able to make that trade. It turned out to be a big winner today. What happened was this was in a very strong downtrend, forming candles below that pink line EMA 4, and then today there was a big close above EMAs 4, 8, and 13 and the middle Bollinger Band. So the close above the middle Bollinger Band at 316 signals the possible start of a new uptrend. So that's the key level to hold. It has to stay above that level now. So above 316, we're looking for a run up to the 50-day simple moving average at 363. If it pulls back below that middle Bollinger Band, that'll be a signal it's not quite ready to go. It has to stay above that level now to be a good play. Keep in mind there is a gap between high of day yesterday and low of day today. Check out PSAR, the green dots flip below the candles. SAR stands for stop and reverse. So it's a signal that the downtrend is stopping and a new uptrend is starting. Notice the giant volume spike on today's move. Also notice there's not much of an upper wick, a small one, but not much. It closed, very, considerably strong, especially since it did close above the key resistance level. So, people were loading. You've got a bullish crossover on the 12, 26, and 9. So that's a sign that a reversal starting as well. The MACD line, the black line, needs to stay above the purple line. And then you also have a crossover on the 8, 13, and 5. Okay, let's look at DNR here. So very sweet move for DNR. Ticker symbol DNR up 16%. RSI is at 58 and in the bull zone. And so really the big move was getting back above that middle Bollinger Band, the dotted purple line. And so it was on a nice volume spike. It's back above where's 222. That's the key level to hold. This dotted purple line, as long as it stays above that level, then it signals a new uptrend is starting. It got a downtrend when it closed below the middle Bollinger Band over here. It bounced off the 100-day simple moving average, and now it's back up. It has to hold that level. If it does, the closing price here on the 29th is the key level to break. So 260 is the big resistance zone. Notice it closed high of day. The last trade of day was high of day. That's a signal of strength. The bulls were in control until the very last trade. Notice the bullish crossover on the MACD 12, 26, and 9. Okay, let's look at NOG here. Closed up 9% today. RSI now is above 50. So now it's at 52, and it does have room to run. And then today there was a nice bullish close above the middle Bollinger Band and right at that 50-day simple moving average. So this had the bounce off of the 100-day simple moving average. It started a downtrend back here when it closed below this middle Bollinger Band, and then now it's back above the middle Bollinger Band for the first time since this candle right here. So there was an uptrend until it got below, and then it had this downtrend, and now it's back above for the first time. So the signal is the possible start of a new uptrend, but it has to get above 210. Failed to break 210, and it signals it's not quite ready to go. A close above 210 would signal more upside potential, and you look for a run up to that upper Bollinger Band at 243. MACD bullish crossovers, so the chart's really heating up. Check out TOO, closed up 10% today. You've got RSI at 59, nice bullish crossover on ADX. When you have the green line crossing the red and the black line to the upside, it's a signal the bulls are heating up. Now I showed you this chart. It's a little bit further out because I want to show you the sideways channel that this has been trading in. So notice it's been in a TOO has been a multi-month sideways channel. This is the top, up here, this is the bottom. You could say the top's up here, and this zone I could have drawn. I could put another resistance line across here. And you could see that it was a tight channel, and so basically, it's hitting the top of this previous top channel. Okay, it's gotten above this channel a couple of times, and each time it's pulled back. And so today, the bullish change in trend. I know it's kind of hard to see. Sorry about that, but I wanted to show you this chart. It is the close above this red line, which is the 200-day simple moving average at 260. So it hadn't closed above that level in a long time. It was working on that in January, but failed to do so, and it had that really nasty nasty pullback. So if it can stay above 260, then it's in play. Has to break above this resistance from back in October and September, you know, this key resistance level. And then it'll be the January high close will be the big level to break. And then if you look way over here in June, there's a gap on the chart. The top of this wick is the bottom of the gap, and then the lower wick on this candle right here is the top of the gap. That's this red line right here. And so the gap isn't quite filled. You know, it almost filled the gap on this red candle over here in July, but it didn't fill it. So what we'd be looking for if it broke above this resistance in January is a potential gap fill and a run up to 320. Okay, let's look at SAEX here. Okay, so it's heating up. All right, so it bounced off the bottom. You know, it's interesting because it had the volume spike, but it has the long upper wick, and this isn't what you're looking for. You know, it was more interesting during the day when it was above all three of these lines. That's the 50 and 100-day simple moving average in the middle Bollinger Band there at the 20-day simple moving average. If it can close above all three levels and turn 2 into support, that would signal it wants to head higher, and then you're looking at that 250 as the big level to break. And then yeah, if it fails to get above that middle Bollinger Band and break that 190 resistance level, then it's not ready to go. It has to break that level. Okay, so notice that it was the largest volume day since January, but it looks like they sold some shares into the rally. Okay, let's look at YUMA. Okay, so this is a thinly traded stock, but it did close up 8% today. It's back above 50 on the RSI. It's in the bull zone, and then it did have a nice close today above the middle Bollinger Band. So this is the first close above the middle Bollinger Band since support broke back here in January. So you know, this is looking like a possible bullish change in trend, but once again it's hitting the key resistance level, which is the 50-day simple moving average at 1.222. So if you see a close above 122, that's a signal that yeah, it looks like it's starting a new uptrend. It has to stay above 118 and hold that middle Bollinger Band level. If it can get above both those levels, then the 200-day simple moving average will be the next target at 132. That's you know, proved to be big resistance, and it'll be a tough level to break when it gets hit. If it does get tested and it fails to break, that would signal a temporary top. If it can get above that level and turn it into support, that'd be a signal it finally wants to head higher. Okay, let's look at WTI. Notice that RSI and FASTO are both like at 48 and 49. If they can get above 50, that'd be a signal the chart's heating up. It came down here and bounced off the 100-day simple moving average. Similar to the other charts, it broke below the middle Bollinger Band, and right now it's been working on breaking this 50-day simple moving average level. You know, it's turned it into support. You know, it was resistance there. You can see these candles were all below, and then today it closed above, and so it's like you know, it's trying to you know, it got below it, so it had to break back above, and then now it's trying to hold it. So if it can stay above the 50-day simple moving average, if it can stay above 4, that would be good. And then it did close above EMA 13 as well, so this was a bullish close today. It needs to stay above those levels and then get above 426. Once it gets above the middle Bollinger Band, it could get a new uptrend going, so keep an eye on that. And then we have TGC here. It closed above the middle Bollinger Band as well today. It's a super thinly traded stock. It has super low volume. You know, back here in December, it had a big volume spike. So, you know, if it gets a volume spike like that, it could be in play. Just keep in mind, stocks like this are more for day trading. If they get running, you know, it's best to lock in gains by end of end of day, because the next day you can see it's red candles. You get punished. Like, you know, it closed way up here and it opened down here. It closed up here. You know, you're going to get punished if you traded this and it spiked and then you held overnight, more than likely. So yeah, any of these kind of stocks that have this kind of setup, you always want to look at the average volume. And if it's super low, you need to think of it more as just like a quick trade as opposed to holding it overnight. Okay, let's look at LGCY. Okay, so this does have a nice uptrend going, and you know, we've been alerting this play, and yeah, it closed higher once again today, so congrats everyone. You know, it's looking frothy here. You know, it has RSI at 79, and you know, this is the previous level where it's found resistance. And then you can see here, notice how FASTO had a crossover, so the black line crossed the red line to the downside. That's a signal the chart's cooling down, so we have to keep an eye on the candles working back into the bands. It's going to be all about holding EMA 4 at 276. Notice it's on a 4-day run, and there's a big volume volume spike today, so this could be the, this could have been the climax spike. It's likely to see a temporary pause tomorrow and see a red candle. See the candles work back into the bands, especially after the upper wick that formed on today's candle. And so it's just all about staying above 276. If it closes below that level, like it did on this candle right here, when it was above the pink line and then it closed below, it could consolidate back to that middle Bollinger Band at 239. Okay, if you look at the weekly chart for LGCY, this is why I think it's likely to take a breather, and you can see why it's topping out. Just keep in mind, when a stock's breaking out on the daily chart, it's good to go out on the weekly chart so you can find the next resistance levels. And we had to go back here to what is this, April 2016, to find why this is struggling at this level, because that was the high close back in April of 2016. And so this is a weekly chart. Each candle represents 1 week of trading. And so this candle will not set until the closing bell tomorrow, the closing bell on Friday, the last trading day of the week, and then that sets the candle. And so if it fails to close above this level for the week, that signals a temporary top, because it's double topped. It came down and then now it's back up to that level. And so it needs to close above and turn this level into support, and that would be a signal it wants to head higher. Once it does that, then the 200-week moving average will be on deck. You notice this week's candle is pushing through that upper Bollinger Band. Right now, it's all about holding EMA 4 at 254, and that's these candles right here, which is the high close in 2017, are lined up with 250. So you want to see that 250 level hold and then break through that 3 resistance zone. Okay, so let's look at REXX. Okay, so keep an eye on this one. This is kind of like the dry ships, or this is like the worst of breed. Okay, so these guys are yeah, they always have a hard time getting a run going, but sometimes they do. You could see in January it had a really nice run and people made some money on these candles. But yeah, so keep an eye on it. Today it closed above EMA 4. It was looking much better earlier in the day when it closed above, or was breaking EMA 13 intraday. If it closed above all 3 of those levels, that would have been a nice bullish close, and that would be signaling more that it wanted to head higher. It pulled back. It did close above EMA 4. It did that on Monday as well. If it can turn that level into support and then close above EMA 8, it could get moving. So keep an eye on it. It does have volume. People do trade this, and it does get moving. The trade would be between this 105 and 126. It'll have to turn the middle Bollinger Band into support to get a new uptrend going. But yeah, keep an eye on it. Let's look at MCEP. Yeah, this one is coming to. I would say this is has a symmetrical triangle type of look to it, with this descending resistance and ascending support. If you used the 300-day simple moving average, the blue line is the resistance line, and the support line is this green line, which is the 50-day simple moving average. And basically the big thing is to bust through this blue line here. Okay, so if it can get through 177, close above, and turn it into support, that's going to be the signal that wants to head higher. It's been multiple candles where it's failed to do this, and so when it finally does, it could head higher. Notice that when it got above the last time, it just traded sideways. So yeah, the big level to break, if it can get above 177, would be that high close here at just about 195, just a little above 195, and so that would be the next target, is to that high close on the 9th of January. And then finally, let's look at ZN, and this had made a really nice move last week. It had the big spike, and then it flagged out, and I did mention that before, the last time I did the video, that it was likely to form a flag or a pennant off of this what we call a flagpole. When you get a big white candle like this, many times you get consolidation. One reason is because the candle has closed so far above the upper Bollinger Band, and so that makes the candles work their way back, and it sets it up for the candles to work back into the bands. It could keep pushing higher if it was a real parabolic move, but this was such a big move, the candles worked their way sideways, and so now it has this flag or pennant coming off of here. Gosh, it's basically, it has to break above resistance to head higher, and it has to hold support. And so if you draw on the trend lines here, you can see it's got a horizontal resistance at just below 450, and then the support is down here at EMA 8 and then EMA 4. Really, it's all about EMA 4. Notice how the pink line's been holding the whole time, and so if it closes below at 416, that'll be your signal that it's cooling. pulling down. And so sometimes when it goes up like this, it breaks down. Many times when it goes, when the flag or pennant coming off is heading down, it will spike up. And so this has a chance to break down here for a minute. We'll see though. If it can get above 450, that'll signal it wants to head higher. If it drops down below 415, that'll signal some consolidation. It's still in a strong uptrend. It just might pull back a little bit before it heads higher. You know, it's all about EMA4 holding support and breaking resistance. All right, and check out how it has the declining volume pattern over here. So keep an eye out for a volume spike. You know, the bulls are looking for a green volume spike and a push through resistance. Okay, thank you for reviewing this video. If you'd like to learn more about charts and technical analysis, come check us out at our chat. All right, we do teach during the trading day, post charts and information, and then teach you how to be able to analyze the charts yourself. All right, thank you so much.